welcome back to a beautiful jam coming through from Wave Rider. I didn't know that this song features someone. Luhuri Haiteta, this very song, premiered on May 9th, 2024. What I am calling me embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed. I'm so ashamed. I'm so ashamed of myself. Otherwise, before that, I gave you Lizwi Wokala. That is Elisu to Shem. What's that again? Wanawat was just coming up, on the come up, on the rise, sturdily, you know, making it in the industry, and then his life was cut short. May his soul rest in peace, man. We're about 27 minutes before we get to 8 o'clock. Our guest is already in studio. I am hanging out with none other than Motikoe Khiba. Yes, I told you guys, documentary. Oh, lockdown. I said around lockdown times. Yeah, you'll correct me, but I want a documentary. I was like, there is no way we have such people in this country. I think we just have bad PR as Basot. We just have bad PR. We have quality and premium people in the country. I watched that documentary. It's still etched in my memory. I can even tell you, it was such a beautiful production. I was like, I need to meet this guy. And I'm gonna go. He has such long dreadlocks. And I don't know, he's in front of me. Keep on to fade. And what's about the transition from locks to fade? But we'll talk about it. And then the next thing, I saw him at gym somewhere. I was at Urban Lion Tribe to gym. Fully busy, but I was like, there's gonna be a time when I actually sit with him and we get to chat about it. But before, let's just quickly do this, and then we will continue our conversation. Let's just officially start this.
You're tuned in to the BKMS Breakfast. This segment is proudly sponsored by KFC. KFC is finger licking good.
Yes, indeed it is. Yes, indeed. It is finger licking good. It is finger licking good to this day, man. To this day. Otherwise, he is already in studio. That's like an overdue, like it's a long introduction, is it not?
It gets longer.
It does, right?
Yeah.
How you doing, man?
I'm good, and yourself?
I'm great. I'm so happy to have you, man. I'm so happy to have you here.
Me.
Finally, you made it.
Excited.
I have been itching.
Really?
To ask you about that documentary. I think that was my first introduction to your work entirely.
It
was just the first introduction to your work, to your name, everything about you.
Yeah.
Right? So I had seen on Twitter. Twitter was a buzz at that time. It was
this
documentary, guys. Go watch it.
Yeah.
And you know, you guys did that cool thing where you tease a bit. You're like,
oh yeah, the trailer.
The trailer.
The trailer went crazy. I was like, guys, will you actually watch the documentary now? Because that was also my first feature, so it's like my first hour-long thing.
I see. Because I'm like, okay, I want to get into this. I want to watch this. You know? And then when it finally dropped, I was like, I remember I was in the office, and I watched it. Right. It was such an amazing production, right?
Thank you.
So I know a bit, right? I know that you were based in Durban. Where did you go to school in KZN?
I was at DUT, the Durban University.
Which campus? City campus.
City.
Hey,
that's all the artists are.
Shout out. I was at DUT too, so I'm happy. I'm happy to hear this.
This is a
reunited. Exactly. I feel so seen. I saw somewhere because obviously I was like, I need to see who this guy is, right?
Yeah.
So I do a bit of research and I'm like, oh, I know this place. This is Glenwood. This is Devonport. I'm like, this guy's my
you're
guy.
in Glenwood too?
This guy's my guy. You
when
know,
were you there?
I was there. When did I leave? I think it was around 2018.
That's when I arrived.
That's when I left. I arrived in 2011, left 2018. So I had a good run.
Yeah, I
had a good run.
Same.
But otherwise, so what was the decision? How did you come into doing film and just having an interest in it entirely?
It was actually really crazy. It's not really something that I actually thought I was going to go into from jump. So obviously at first, the family were like, just study medicine.
Be an engineer or something.
And I was like, I see y'all
do
see
that.
that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So literally I'm doing that, and so I used to have this thing where after school I'd often go to either my dad or mom's office.
Yeah. And
then I'd just basically chill there until it was time to go home or until they knocked off.
Okay.
So then, computers were like, this is like late 2000s. I'm a kid, and they're like, no, just build the computer.
Okay.
So most kids go to Paint. which
Yeah,
I
that's
did
what
for a little bit.
We all did.
I did too for a bit. I
Okay.
did for a bit, but then I can't draw. So I was like, okay, this is kind of boring. And then I used to see this thing, Windows Movie Maker. So I started making slideshows. So at first it was just about tinkering with it. Then I was like, ooh, you can actually do something on purpose here. And then I started doing slideshows. Then I was like, let me actually try like putting music to this. So I was still using like the stock images on Windows at the time. Add those there. And then I thought, what if I
Around
took
what
my own
age was this?
It's probably like 9.
You're still in primary school.
Yeah, I was still in primary. So I start thinking, what if I use my own pictures? So they're obviously very random, but that's why I kind of got a sense of like editing and pacing, and this and this, but still, film is still far from my mind, you know. So then finally, high school comes through, and I have an interest in drama because our school used to have a bunch of plays for every class and all that
Where
stuff.
did you go to school?
Surrey Prep.
Okay.
And then
So
went to
you
my
had
survey.
that in the curriculum.
Yeah, you know, but it was just the class. Like, okay, so apparently you have to do this acting thing. You know? So it wasn't until I got
sketch.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So it wasn't until I got to high school that I started going into drama a little bit more deeply. Then I thought, okay, acting is fun because I used to like gun for the lead roles all the time. And then I was like, I like this thing where people clap for me. But what if I wrote the thing that people clap for? Did that for a little bit, and then film finally came in, and I was like, I think I'm gonna start using real locations. And then it was a smooth sailing from there.
And then, so then your transition from high school into varsity, you already knew that this is what you want to pursue.
A little bit, but there's a bit of a anxiety-stricken moment somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Because I think around that time, so I'd applied for 3 different things.
Okay.
So I didn't know if my parents were going to let me do it because they supported it while I was there. But I knew that this might not fly in the long run. So I think my first option at one university, I think it was like UP, UOps, and then DUT.
Yes.
So UP, I think I was doing a BCom in like something in human resource management.
Okay.
One of them was business law. I forgot the third one was. But long story short, then I was going through like the DUT stuff. Then I saw video technology, so I studied. So then I saw that they're the only film school that has an outside broadcast van. So I was like, okay, I haven't checked out broadcast.
Like, I want
Let me
the
try
OB.
that. So then I was just like, let me just have it there just to kind of see how that sort of thing goes. But I didn't think it would happen. And long story short, every one of these other options literally replied first with a firm offer. DUT was the last one. And even then, after I'd completely gone through my grace period for whether or not I'm accepting the offer or like the spot is gone, then they're like, right, interview. I'm like, oh my God.
So now they're increasing your anxiety even more.
Dude,
now.
everybody else gave me a firm
They said,
offer. You
"Come
guys are like,
through."
no, come, but we're still not sure yet. Let's come see. And the acceptance rate is crazy because I think because of how they're kind of structured, they do a lot of like job placements because they produce a lot of like really, really, really good graduates. So when you graduate, then you literally have a spot in like most production places in SA, right? So out of 2,000 applications, I think, well, out of a couple thousand, they only take about 50. And by first year, there's like 30 of you or like 25. There are about 25 in my class.
When you start out in the class.
Yeah. So from 2,000, you're just there. You're like, please.
Look at the little guy. When you got to the finish line, how many were you?
12. Yeah.
Oh, so it's tough.
Yeah, no. They tell you, like from first year, they're like, good morning. Half of you will not be here by the end of this course. I'm like, what introduction is this?
So then how did the interview go? When
it was
you went?
really good. So I think more than anything, I think film, funny enough, I actually didn't know how it made money when I actually went out to study it. So it was just a passion thing. So from when I was still at home and still in my training, it was something that I did in my free time as a hobby that I was a little too obsessed with. So luckily, because I was doing my own sort of passion project, i.e. like the documentary, I had quite a large portfolio by the time the interview came. So unlike most applicants who are only trying to get into it for the first time, I actually had experience.
Okay, so this is where I was gonna go actually with that. So then when you apply, what is it that they ask for? Because with us, I know when I got into DUT, I had to apply via CAO.
Yeah,
all of my application everywhere.
UKZN,
right?
all of every university.
So there's no. All you need to submit is just your results, right? So with you guys, then obviously, what is it that you have to now submit?
So funny enough, I actually found out when I started first year.
Yeah.
One of the things is you have to have an art subject in your high school.
Okay.
So if you don't have it there, then automatically you're like second option. So it's like all the applicants. So luckily, because I did drama, I was like, okay, cool, check.
At least
right?
in the arts somewhere.
Yeah. And then from there, you can have a portfolio. They're not too strict on
About
it, but it
it,
definitely
okay.
does help, because obviously they're like, okay, it's your first time, you might not have gear and all that stuff. Yeah, but you gotta have art as like one of your subjects in high school.
That's amazing, man. I think it's just, you know, the fact that you started out when you were younger and you were already putting stuff together. I think that worked to your advantage.
Who knew?
Right. So then let's talk about then when you're done with school now and you got into the documentary, right?
Yeah.
How did that come about? Was it your first big project also?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
It was my first feature, first big project, first project that I funded, which I mean, I guess technically you fund all your passion projects, but that one had serious money put into it, you know? So needless to say, 2020 was a bad financial year. But
I mean, obviously for all of us, yeah.
So basically, I think let me start with how the documentary first came about, right? So I think around second year, we were learning about documentary filmmaking, and we were studying a Ken Burns masterclass, who was basically talking about documentary filmmaking and talking about docu-films, right? Because I've always been a filmmaker, because I think the thing that always drew me to film and why I kind of wanted to use real-world sets in a sense was, so I'm a cinematographer, so the thing that it was for me was being able to evoke certain emotions visually, right? I think that's always been the best way I've always been able to express myself.
And can I just interject there for a bit? In that clip that you showed me, like shortly before we started, right, where you were just capturing, I think Kingsway Road,
yes,
right?
Yeah.
There was just a certain emotion that I felt. I don't know if it's the music. I don't know what you guys do.
All of it, yeah.
I don't know
it's
what
all
you guys
purpose.
do, but I was watching that thing. I was like, it doesn't seem like it's the same place I know, but I know it.
Yes.
And it gave me a certain feeling.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm just gonna, like, from what you just said, I'm going to give you like a very big tick on that.
I agree.
Because, like, I know that one for the emotions.
Yeah.
You really tapped into that.
I agree.
So then why was it? Why was that your motivator? Wanting to now tell stories through emotion.
I think, well, for a couple of reasons. One, I actually started writing, but that's also because of like my drama, history, and all that stuff. But I think just as an artist, when you're a cinematographer, obviously when you learn film in the beginning and you kind of go on YouTube, you follow these people and they live in Europe or the US and have all these crazy buildings and highways and all this crazy infrastructure and all of that stuff. So immediately you're like, okay, so clearly I can't create anything dope here because we don't have crazy infrastructure, right? Then
we do.
So I had a very love-hate.
You have that place down there.
True.
Yeah.
So I had a very love-hate relationship with like just the country in general, right? Because I was like, damn, it really doesn't have anything to offer me cinematic.
Which
at
is
the
true.
time.
Which is true.
I kind of disagree with it now, and I'll get into why, right? So when I was shooting that, I'd already started working in Durban at the time, and I was like, damn, I'm creating so many dope visuals outside of my own country. But so the thing is, every time I'd come home, it'd often be after a long period of time. So I'd be homesick, and I'm like, wow, this is so beautiful. Damn, this is so beautiful. This is so beautiful. I'm like, then why can't I capture that if I truly am Cine?
Yeah.
And then I was like, okay, let me just see what I can do at Kingsway in the morning. And that's how
it came about. So it was early hours of the morning.
Yes. I'd actually just left the gym and I had my camera with me. I was like, actually, let me see what I can do with it.
All right.
Yeah.
So then you were walking me through how now the
documentary
came about.
Yeah. So we were watching that Ken Burns masterclass on documentary filmmaking. He's talking about basically being able to shoot a documentary like a film, where he's basically like, documentaries don't have to be boring, hey? He's like, because you actually have so much thought put into the planning processes of it, that there's no reason why you can't curate it like an actual film, even though it's a real life event.
Yeah.
So when I saw that, I was like, I actually want to do a documentary for a film festival. So I used to do quite a bit of film festivals back then as well. So at the time, I didn't know what I wanted to make a documentary about. Because I don't want to be a typical, I don't know, this is Lesotho, you know?
The mountains.
Yeah,
the
you know. So I was
rivers.
like, what story can I tell? And for a while, I was really grappling with it. And at the time, I was talking to my former schoolmate, Tolo Kawani, who I produced it with. He's part of the Transform Lesotho initiative. And we'd often talk about, politics here and there.
Brilliant guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Freaking brilliant.
Yeah.
So we, talk about that here and there. And around the time that we were talking quite a lot, that's when the Bacha shutdown happened and all of that stuff. And I was like, actually, that's a fact. Because remember, when I left for school, I didn't know how film made money. And I was like, I'm going to be part of that. So, unfortunately, I think when the actual march happened, I was still in Durban. And I was so mad and heartbroken. And I was like, I get it. But I can't fly home just this weekend or this Friday, So immediately when that came, I was like, listen, I don't care what happens. But as soon as I land, we're producing this. And then, boom, COVID happened.
My goodness. But like you have such great footage from what was happening there. So then what magic did you work if you were not even around?
What I saw, so obviously remember how Twitter became a frenzy during like that time, right?
Yes.
So there was obviously a lot of footage going online and stuff like that. So I saw that a lot of people had footage. So I was like, okay, so there's at least an opportunity to treat it like archive footage in a sense.
Yes.
So I know Tulo Manyake shot some Tasha Dimpo had a couple of pictures as well, and a couple other people as well. So I just literally just hit them up like, hey, I'm doing this thing. I really want to use it as part of this. So I think about 70% of it is other people's footage. And then I was just like, okay, so in between the story, this is where the film part comes in. I'll just have really cinematic B-roll. So if you watch the documentary, and I remember these were like the comments when we premiered it for the first time. A lot of people were watching it. They're like, hey, this is Lesotho, but it doesn't look like, Lesotho. What's going on here? And then I was like, okay, it worked.
You put a filter on this country and it was like, yo, photo, guys.
I promise you. Because
I remember, I would have expected to see Tulo Munyake for that video that he trended for during that time.
You went crazy with that one.
Because everyone was just like, who is this America? I think that's also what was another thing that confused a lot of people. Like, who's this guy with the American accent? Right? But it was actually very beautiful that you put it together in that way, man. I think it was such a dope thing that you did. And I think it really just put you, like, I hadn't heard anything about Motikoe, but now I know. If you say anything cinematography, if you say anything film, call that guy. So what did it do for your career? What could you say that it helped do for your career right now?
I think for the most part, it really helped establish me here at home. Because I think for a lot of people that tend to study abroad, there's a sort of, there's like this sort of notion that, okay, because you're an SA, you're sort of better all for, why would you come back and all that stuff? But I think I've always held my home country very close to me. So even going there, the fact that I couldn't study film at that level here was more heartbreaking than it was I made it out kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Okay. But don't you think it is better though? Don't you think you're better off?
In some ways, I mean, that's why we had the conversation in the documentary, you know, in some ways. And the thing is, I don't blame people that do feel that way. I just think I'm incredibly optimistic. Fortunately or unfortunately.
You're just one of the people who are very passionate about the future, what the future of the country looks like.
Exactly. So, but also even just like raising the status quo as well, where you can be a cine here and produce really great things, you know?
True.
So then it was just a matter of now finally getting into the corporate landscape and just kind of showing that, like, hey guys, we can actually go real crazy with these budgets here.
So what is your ultimate goal with filmmaking, cinematography? Like, as a person, as an individual, what is your ultimate goal? What is it that you would want to see in the film industry, where you're like, okay, now I can say, kada.
Well, okay, so that question, there's actually two parts to it. One is, personally, I'm still gunning for this Oscar. That's what we're doing.
You have it on record. You have it on record.
That's the first thing. The second thing is I actually want to build my studio here. So because also even when I started film, I was like, I don't want to start it on a small scale. So when there's finally a studio that will have my name on it. So funny enough, even when I was coming up with it and kind of pitching it and stuff like that, I was like, what am I going to name it? Then I was like, nah, wait a minute, hold up. If Tyler Perry can call it Tyler Perry Studios, then best believe it's going to be Motikoe Studios.
Shout out.
Because I think the thing about it was, and especially kind of like interacting with corporate a little bit more, the thing about film is it's not one of those industries where it grows with you or it grows and then the bag follows. So it's like the bag first, then the thing comes. So obviously when you try and pitch that sort of thing here in the beginning, nobody's really trying to say, I don't know, take out $1 million to shoot like a super high budget thing.
True.
So for me, my aim was, it's fine if I have to do it out of pocket until it's now a viable thing where we finally have something on Netflix that's being shot here and full cast here, maybe a couple guest people here or cameos and stuff like that, then that's what we'll have to do, because it's really just about people have to see it first to believe in it, you know. So, and I think that's why the music industry right here really inspires me quite a bit, because I'm like, okay, you see our own artists now pulling crazy numbers on TikTok, and I'm like, you see this, but film.
We're going somewhere. We're going somewhere.
Exactly.
And that's why I was grilling you about content. It's like, it doesn't matter that TikTok TikTok challenge move on. I need to see more of that content, man.
Yeah.
I need to see. I was talking to Carolo as well. I'm like, you and Motikoe are the only two people I know who are very active on social media like that. So I need to go to your pages every time Khiba content. Guys, please. But otherwise, I think it's so beautiful that you hold that, you know, that, what is the word? Give me the word. That you hold that notion, right?
Patriotism.
Yes, and you just like, you are very patriotic about the country, and because also you are really young. And I know a lot of young people right now also aspire to go abroad. And then you're saying, no, I can bring the stuff here, guys. You can go study abroad. Unfortunately.
Yes.
There's one popular person who's a product of Limpopo. She worked here, she interned here. CJ the Mafia. Yeah. So she cosplays as Matabang. I think on TikTok,
okay,
right?
yeah.
So you can tell that there is a lot of film background there in the way that she does her skits.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I'm just like, I like that there are a lot of people now who are saying, young people also who are saying that, no guys, you know, we have these things here and we can make them happen. Yeah. So I want to talk to you also about now, how did this is now on a personal level. How did the loss of your sister affect you? How did that come about?
Ooh, that was crazy.
Yeah.
I think, funny enough, I was actually having a conversation with a friend about it just last night, right? It was very abrupt, right? So so for those who don't know, we were basically in a car accident on our way back from Joburg.
So you were there as well?
Yeah. So we were literally in the same car, same everything, but somehow it's like absolutely going crazy, and we're both in the front seats. They're like in different spots and all that, right?
Was it only the two of you?
Yeah. Okay. It was the first road trip together, actually.
Wow.
All right.
That's heavy.
So I think, funny enough, for a while, I think the entire time of 2023, like post, like I didn't work, but I could not work because because the thing about film is, in as much as some projects can either be like just purely work and stuff like that. Ultimately, as a cine, it's like every visual kind of has a part of me, and I just kind of felt like I'd lost like a huge part of me. You know what I mean? So it was only until March this year that I started working again, and just been like full blitz, but it was definitely very rough.
Yo, the grief period, I don't think anyone ever gets over it, man.
Dude.
Yeah, but I still say to this day, man, my deepest condolences regarding that, man. It was such a painful moment. I think for the bulk of us, because she was also doing such amazing work. Yeah. With the ganja.
Man.
We were getting in there, man.
But the last day we'd gone to a cannabis farm.
Yeah.
By this academy in Joburg, it's called Khiba. So for those who are trying to get into the industry, that's the plug right there. They have a whole bunch of courses that you can do.
Shout out.
And so I was also enrolling in one. So I'm about to be a licensed.
Oh, now we know who to call. Snayman. These guys are Snayman.
But legally.
Yeah, that's why we're talking about it on radio. So tell me, why did you cut off your locks?
That's actually a very short answer. So my reason was simply, I don't think I can have long hair while I still live alone. So I remember telling my girlfriend, I was like, listen, if you want my long hair to stay, we're going to have to live together. Like, the upkeep. And I was like, listen, we can take turns. I'm not saying just be a one-sided relationship, but it was a lot. It was a lot. But also I think, I always say the thing about my hair, it's always marked very different phases of my life, right? So I had a big afro before the locks, right? So because when I had the afro, I was growing it out and then transitioning into dreads. It was basically just a thing where, as far as my own image, I am an artist first, right? I'm an artist first.
Okay.
So then with the stuff that I'm also trying to do here, now that
Yeah.
we're starting to move in corporate and all that crazy stuff, when I cut them off, it was more a thing of, okay, but now I'm a businessman to y'all.
I'm
to
a
you guys, I'm
businessman.
a Exactly, but they're definitely coming back. They're definitely coming
Yeah,
back.
because I'm like, hey, that's a lot of money there. They're so long. They go bana kuka body tape. I'm like, this guy.
Line drive.
It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a
And
lot.
I just started working out then, so yeah, no.
Ah, okay, I see.
Yeah.
I see. No, I think a lot of us there, we were all just starting out. So the
lit.
fitness journey, has it always been something that you were interested in as well?
No. Well, I played sports, which is funny, but I was never really interested in
Okay.
fitness like that. Fitness, I think, came around 2021.
Okay.
So I think around the same time that I produced the documentary,
Yeah.
especially with what I was trying to accomplish with things like producing fully fledged productions here for like Netflix, Showmax, and all that stuff, I was like, as far as the business side of things, like I'm going to have to use a term that we use now, get very locked in. So I was like, gym was going to be my measure of, can I be consistent and disciplined? So
Okay.
yeah,
I see,
that's how
I
it
see.
came in. So
And
it
I
really
know-
wasn't even about like a body goal, like Sama. No, I was just like, no, can I show up every day diligently to this thing? If I can, then I can trust the process here.
You're so clear.
Yeah.
You are so clear with that. You are so clear with that. And like you do like about 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Are you a morning person like that?
You know what's funny? When I left high school, I was like,
Yeah.
I will never do. Mind you, I used to wake up at 6 a.m. for high school.
Yeah.
And I would never put myself through this. Like, why would anybody wake up before 8 a.m.?
Yeah.
But I think when I made a commitment to this, I was like, I have to see it through. And the best way that it was for me was, I think, the clarity of mind that just came with doing stuff in the morning and seeing the byproduct of that in many different ways in my life. I was like, hi. But I can't deny the results of this thing. So I guess now my life has to be like this. And then that's really all she wrote from there.
Makes sense. You know,
Yeah.
I think it sounds like it's dramatic, but I think you just changed my life by saying that. It sounds
It's
so
that simple.
dramatic.
I promise you. It's that simple. You don't need a motivational quote. I was like, listen, I saw the results. I was like, well, this is what we're doing.
So now even I've seen it with myself. When you
Yeah.
wake up early, you have such long days.
That's my thing.
The days are so much longer
Yeah.
than when you wake up at 11. But otherwise, shout out to you for that, man.
Appreciate
How do we get into your circle? We also want to be at that party you were at where people were like, next year, yeah, and people were like, no, it doesn't quite
It
work,
doesn't
like,
work
that.
like that.
Oh, that was
I
something.
keep blaming Kupani for that. I'm like, do you see when you take pictures of us for a trend? Like,
I was like, no, guys. But no, how about on Facebook? How about the bone comments and all? Oh, no, that was the time.
Yeah.
But now, I also saw a very beautiful picture of you some time back. Monument still with your girlfriend. When are you getting married?
guys, I'm just the boy. I'm just the boy.
Shout
I'm
out.
just
No,
the
but
boy.
That's such a cool relationship. And I understand you
Yeah.
guys have been going on for how many years now?
About hit
Is it-
4.
Wow.
About hit 4
Wow.
years now. Yeah.
But it's so cute. How is now navigating a relationship
And
and
in your
all this film?
20s.
Because how na nako?
And
Yeah.
I've always had time for her, hey, and like, cause I think genuinely, my life is very simple, hey. So
Yeah.
if you see my content, it means I'm literally at home,
Ah.
right?
Okay.
So if I'm at home, I'm gonna call my girlfriend, and then there's sometimes not even like some that like distracts me. So if I'm editing, then I'll just have my phone up like I do right now,
Okay.
and then we just talk and talk and talk. But I think we started dating when we both turned 20, so we're the
Okay.
same age. So yeah.
Yikes. No, that's so cute, man.
Yeah.
No. So whenever you guys decide to tie the knot, like
I'll tell them, it'll be-
it's gonna no, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, no, because we went into it very, very sure, man. Because we were like, dude, we're about to go in our 20s together, so let's not be unrealistic with it. Where it's like, okay, cool. After, people are like, you can't date me for 3 years, and then there's no ring, and then
Yeah.
there's this. I was like, okay, let's finish school.
I mean, you're just the
Then
girl, you're
we
just the
can-
boy.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Just the girl and boy in love.
Yeah.
And then after that, it was the whole thing. So yeah, we're just really taking it as it comes.
You guys just
But,
growing together.
Yeah.
That's very cute. So adorable. Otherwise,
Thank you.
so now tell me, how do we get a hold of you? People wanna, work with you. People wanna do some work with you. Babata with the red card and stuff like that.
Yeah.
With the real time edits.
Oh, nothing.
That was a busy time
terrifies
for you,
me
eh?
for that.
Yeah. So then, how people just This is your platform now.
Thank
Put
you.
yourself out there. Shoot your
So
shot.
there's a whole bunch of different ways. If
Yeah.
you just want to follow my content, I have a YouTube channel. I have a TikTok.
What is your YouTube?
YouTube is just my name and surname, Motikoe Khiba. There's a whole bunch of content there as well. Vlogs, films coming again. TikTok, still Motikoe Khiba. Instagram, still Motikoe Khiba. My email address, motikoekhiba@gmail.com if you're trying to...
So
work on
I'm seeing the
something and
YouTube
all
here.
that.
This is Bad Santa, if I'm not mistaken.
Where?
Looks like. in the
Oh,
profile
yeah,
picture,
it is.
looks like
It
Bad
is.
Santa.
I was actually watching one of my friends' show. She was hosting a theater show there. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I'm seeing the content. Yeah, guys, no, go on to YouTube. You'll see.
Yeah.
There's a lot of content there.
But that one, don't expect just film stuff. So I genuinely just call myself a professional liver of life. So
Don't limit
expect
yourself.
one thing. Yeah.
Don't limit yourself. Yeah,
Yeah.
man. Otherwise, so then how do we get in contact through social media as well?
Yes, 100%. I'm
Email
very, very,
and social
yeah.
media.
But you have better luck with like my DMs, because I'm very, very, very online. Yeah.
Shout out. So you're chronically online.
Yes. I mean, we have to sell this content somehow, right?
You're just like, I want to take a social media break, but also life is saying no.
You know what I mean?
Everything is happening on
Literally,
social
it's
media.
like, that's where you're gonna see it. I can't put on
Yeah.
a billboard, and we have screens.
Right.
Billboards. Yeah.
Shout out, man. It's
Appreciate
been
it.
such a pleasure chatting to you. And usually I will ask for your song or one or two songs that you like before we end the interview. But now we've ended it because I didn't want to interrupt you. You were flowing. I was going to
So I am a
I was going to
talker.
interrupt the
I'm
flow.
a bit of a talker.
No, I
Yeah.
love that. I love that. I want to tell you now, sometimes I go to music, you just say, this is awkward. I'm working extra hard. But shout out, man.
Appreciate
you made
it.
it such a breeze. You made it such a breeze. So maybe we're going to play out with one of your favorite songs. You can just tell me what your song is.
Current favorite.
Yeah.
Sincere Shwele Interessana Nome Victor.
Ah, nice. Eish.
You don't know why? Because in my mind, I think that's the song I'll be walking out to any award show to.
Eish.
That's why.
Eish. No, I see the vision.
Yeah.
I see the vision. Shout out to you, man. All the best in all your future endeavors.
Thank you.
And I want you to know on record today that I am one of your biggest supporters.
Appreciate
Silently, maybe you don't see me following you anywhere on social media, but
Yeah.
I do check out your content a lot.
Thank you.
So yeah, man, I'm a very big fan of your work, and I hope that everybody else in the world sees your work. That Oscar, we support you fully.
Gotta come home.
Shout out,
It's gotta
man.
come home.
That was Motikoe Khiba coming through right here on the BKMS Breakfast on this week's edition of How Art Thou? Oh, man, what an amazing guy. I'm so glad he could pull through, man. Otherwise, that is us from KFC. Oh, wow, that's so nice. I just said us from KFC. You know what? But otherwise, let me do it officially. Let me do it this way.
This segment was proudly sponsored by KFC. KFC is finger licking good.